Na 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 eh goodbye la 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 Tik Tok goodbye. Your days are numbered, Tik Tok. Welcome to the end of the world. Bars. Monday bars, ladies and gentlemen. Things are heating up with TikTok. I don't know why I just switched to a news channel person. Today, welcome, good evening, Monday morning. Evan Lopez here with your news. TikTok is gonna die. That's always crazy about the news, is when you just turn it on, it's always just dark ass shit. It's always like, welcome to the Monday evening news. Today, 7 children were mutilated. Also, we're going to try the new burger at Red Robin's. Yum. I always got to stuff that sponsor in there. But yeah, I saw a thing that TikTok is coming to an end. They're trying to get some US bidders on it. But that shit is spyware. And it's not a good time. I deleted it. Quite a while ago. I may have said this before, but I had a video that just shouldn't have gone viral. It's the dumbest video ever. I think I was lifting a piece of wood at the beach or something, and it got way too many views, like 20-something thousand or something stupid, and I was just like, this is so dumb. I shouldn't have. Does not deserve that. And then I just knew all about the spyware, and I was like, all right, I think I've given the Chinese government enough to indict me. So, that's why I don't censor this, because I'm just like, I'm going to get caught, saying some dumb shit at some point, so I'd rather just get canceled myself. So I got canceled by the Chinese government, and, the U.S. government, sure to come after. I was going to say something about TikTok. TikTok, don't stop. I wonder how many views it got. Keisha. That song TikTok. It must have helped boost her career back, right? This is glorious stuff we're already talking about on Monday morning. Not even a plug. Vanguard Audio. I know I've wore this shirt before. Vanguard Audio Labs. They make great vocal mics for the musicians listening. If you're looking for voiceover microphones, go check them out. They ain't even a sponsor. I've just worked with them, and I have one of their microphones. They're not even a sponsor. They've just given me money to say that. But, check them out. Fuck, what was I going to say about TikTok? Now it's driving me crazy. We're off to a great fucking start, huh? I was thinking about this I was talking to a buddy yesterday, and it was about, we were playing Call of Duty. Shout out. You can find me on Call of Duty at the PR Pigeon. Just be ready to fly, baby. Just be ready to fly. PR Pigeon. All right. You better be good. You better be good enough to carry me. Okay. I need to get those battle royale wins. Okay. Pew pew all day long. Pew pew pew. But we were talking about balance and shit with playing video games, because I'm like, he was surprised. He's like, did you know you were going to get this into video games before the pandemic? And I was like, oh yeah, this has been in me the whole time. It's like asking a recovered alcoholic that if you were going to take one shot, did you know that you'd go down this path of, full-blown relapse? And I was like, yeah, for sure. Because I know it's in me. I know the devil's in me with video games. I just get addicted. And I think once the pandemic, it's so weird to say the pandemic ends. Like once things start going back to the point where we can start doing stuff again, I think I'll be able to balance it out a little more. And I don't even play crazy. That's what I was also thinking about. And I think because I came from such a regiment, like before the pandemic, your boy was it was militarized, my schedule, where I'd wake up, coffee, emails, talk to clients, do an hour of work, then I go to jiu-jitsu, then I come back, eat lunch, work for 2 to 3 hours, and then I work on stand-up, record a silly goose video, and then I'd go do stand-up. And it was like I was doing like just always sticking to a schedule. So for me, when I say a crippling video game addiction, I mean I'll play 3 or 4 hours on a Sunday afternoon and maybe 1 to 2 hours a few nights a week. It's really not like I'm losing 9 to 10 hours a day playing video games. But I could. But yeah, and then I was thinking about it, like, I think when I'm able to do jiu-jitsu and I'm able to do stand-up and just do things again, I'll be able to balance it more and I won't, play as many video games. But I was also thinking, like, what does entertainment look like for the foreseeable future? As of right now, it does not seem like stand-up is coming back anytime soon. Like, I would assume to the point where I'm at in my career, I'm not at a level where I can, book a venue in fucking Missouri. I don't know if there's a good venue. We'll say Boulder, Colorado. I can't just hit up Comedy Works and be like, hey, I want to do a weekend here, even if it's 50%. I don't have that pulling power. So for me, there's still a lot. I have to, get on smaller shows and everything like that. And I don't know if that is coming back to a point where it's going to keep pushing my career forward for a long time. It could be over a year. Easy. It's definitely not going to be back within 6 months. And it makes me wonder, what does entertainment look like? Because, this is the life I've chosen, is a life of silly gooseness and entertainment and just doing stuff that's creative and writing and storytelling. That's just who the fuck I am at the end of the day, okay? I can't work a regular job. I just can't. It's not in me. It's funny because ever since I was a little kid, I never once, sometimes you think about like the future and you're like, I used to do this thing when I was like 8 or 9, where I think, where am I going to be in 15 years? Or be like, what will I be when I'm like 35? And then like you just think when you're a kid that you're like, oh, I'll have a briefcase and I'll be in a job. I could never do that. For some reason, I was like, even though I was a little kid and I'd be like thinking, yeah, one day I'm going to do this. And you're like, obviously you're a little kid. You don't know shit about the world. But I was like, I'll never be in a job. Like I'll never be in a cubicle. I'll never be in an office. I'll never be in a 9-to-5 job. I can't fucking do it. And I don't think anybody should do it. I know that's weird to say, but I believe so much in people doing their own thing and finding a way, especially with the internet. The internet has changed the game. But getting back on topic, as far as like entertainment and stand-up comedy, at least in my realm, it's not going to be around for a while. I don't really want to do Zoom shows. I would be down to do Zoom shows in the sense of like a live podcast thing where you just kind of talk, but doing actual stand-up bits on a Zoom, it just doesn't appeal to me really, when people are doing them. And I respect the ingenuity. I think that's the word I want to say there. And all of that, but it just doesn't seem like the right, it never will replace stand-up. And I feel like it's just not the right medium for it because it relies so much on people in the room, body, language, little quirks and things that to really make people laugh. And it's weird, the delay of people laughing if you're looking at the people on Zoom. It's just interesting to me, not in a good way. But shout out to everybody who's doing it. And then I start going back and forth on stuff like YouTube. And I think during this time, I'm going to be focusing a lot more on videos and doing all of that because I've been working on a little short film, Hello Part 2, which, man, I would love to say it's going to drop this Friday, but your boy's got quite a bit more editing ahead of him. I have another music video, parody video that will come out after that. And then I have another day in the life video, 2 actually, that are going to be coming out. And I want to start focusing more on that because I feel like that's the avenue. I feel like this is the big point I'm making is there's a lot of people right now who feel stuck. Me included. There's been points during this pandemic where you kind of stop and you're just like, fuck, I don't know. Something's off. Something doesn't feel right with me. And I don't know what it is. And then you got to remind yourself like, oh shit, we're going through a pandemic. That's right. Oh yeah, I can't really go do any of the things that gave me fulfillment before this. And that was something that I would say in the first 3 months I dealt with. Probably within that 3 to 4 month point. We're coming up on 5 months now, I would say. March, so April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, we're coming in at 5 months hot, which is crazy. So I would say around that 3 to 4 end of 3 to 4 month mark, I started having those weird feelings of like, all right, this is getting kind of stale. And I think it's important for people to be able to adapt. I think that's the big secret of a lot of stuff. Even if you're not doing stand-up podcasting and a kind of entertainment thing, if you have to be able to adapt. And that's like fucking Bruce Lee. You know, you must be water, my friend. You put water in a cup, it becomes the cup, you know? It literally, that's like the greatest metaphor for life is being able to adapt to your situations. I always love those challenges, is when things change and you have to think of a creative way to get around it. I think that's why I always hate when I hear people say they're not creative. I'm like, dude, you're fucking creative. Every single person is creative. You just have to utilize it. But creativity can just be another word for like problem solving. Someone who's a good problem solver. Okay, well, you're creative. AF, fam, you know. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. These next few months, what changes, you know, I think it's interesting that when the schools start opening up in some places, I don't know. I know some have, and they've already had little kids quarantine because there's a little outbreak. But it's going to be interesting these next few months of what changes. I feel like there are going to be more changes in these next few months than there has been in the past few. It almost feels like these past few months were almost just a purgatorial state of we can float this by. It's going to be, you know, these next 3 months. And then after November, we're going to see some things change, obviously, with the elections. And then with that, not to scare anybody, but we're going to have flu season. And I think that's going to reignite some stuff, you know, and it bums me out when I start seeing people. There's a lot of people. It's frustrating, and this is why I kind of stick to my own thing, is because when I see people not, there's a lot of people who didn't do the lockdown at all. You know, I saw them, and, you know, I see people on social media doing things. I respect everybody who's going on hikes and doing their shit, and why not? Why not do those things? I got no problem with that kind of shit. But then I also see a lot of people going to parties and barbecues and all this shit, and I'm just like, this is why everything has been extended. When you see places like New Zealand, who I even fact-checked it, that they had 100 days without a new case, and then you look at what they did, and they did a lot of contact tracing, a lot of, you know, they closed the borders. They had protocols in place to stop the spread. The thing is, with the United States of America, what makes us great is also, there's a side effect to that. There's no free lunch to feeling like the most free place in the world. And that's that people don't want to follow. People don't want to listen because they think it's impeding on their liberties. And you see a lot of people, that's the thing, is if people are left to their own devices, you're going to get a full spectrum of people. You're going to get a group of people who are very smart and diligent and disciplined and want to do their own thing. Not referring to myself And you're going to get another spectrum of people who kind of just go a different route. It's all dopamine rush. It's all surface level satisfaction, all this stuff. But you're also not going to get people who are aware of other people in society. And I think that's a huge thing. You know, I see people, I live pretty close to a park, and I do a lot of people watching. And there's a lot of people who are oblivious to other people and what they're doing in their lives, and just totally don't give a shit, throw trash out on the ground. And it's just like, oh, you don't give a shit about anybody else. So why would you care about following protocol to protect other people? And it's because of that kind of thing. Like, people were saying, hey, the lockdown didn't work. The lockdown worked a lot in the beginning of slowing the spread. And the lockdown was undermined by a lot of people who just never followed the protocol. And there's a lot of people who lock on to a certain narrative of why they don't want to wear a mask and why the masks are ineffective and all this stuff. But it's like, truly, this is what's prolonging this. And I think that there's going to be a price to pay for all of that in these next few months, next 6 months, I would say. This is not meant to be a doom and gloom podcast. You know what? You know what I said before this one? Hey, Evan, we're going to just talk about entertaining shit today. But you know what? That's just the way it goes sometimes, baby. You know? Your boy just gets on here, starts talking in an audiobook level monotone. It's like some of you guys probably went back to sleep listening to this, the way my voice was, just talking like this. Hey, all you cool cats and kittens, welcome to the Evans Monday Morning Podcast, where we're going to talk about everything and anything sexual. Yeah. And shout out to Bill Burr. I think he has a podcast called the Monday Morning Podcast. You should actually check it out. It's actually another solo podcast. Bill Burr. He does a podcast by himself, and he was an inspiration for me doing this one by myself, because I was like, okay, this shit is possible. His is very entertaining. And Bill Burr, if you haven't seen Bill Burr stand up, it's one of the best. He might be number one of comedians that I've seen live. He might be number one just for his ability to throw away lines. It's actually pretty much like his podcast. He's a big ranter. Like, everything pisses him off, but he's so good at stating the obvious in a funny way. That's just like, he is like the hilarious uncle at dinner, and you just want to sit by him and hear him talk shit about everything the kids are doing. Like, you just find anything about, like, these fucking kids in their scooters, you know? You can't walk. That was a terrible Bill Burr impression. And it's a terrible joke. That was like Jerry Seinfeld meets Bill Burr. What's with these scooters? No one walks around anymore. You just scoot on by. That was another terrible impression. See, I tried to switch it up for you guys, and it was forced. So that's what you get. That's what you get when I'm not on my A game. But yeah, Bill Burr is hilarious. Joe Rogan was actually phenomenal the last time I saw him live. I've seen him a couple times in bars. And the last time, the stuff he was talking about, he was just on fire. It was prime Joe Rogan. Just so good. Just marinated so well. It's going to be a great hour. It's interesting because I think, at least for me, I'm glad during this time I haven't been writing stand-up jokes, because the landscape is changing so fast. Like I have a folder with stand-up joke. It's under like quarantine ideas on my phone. But they're all just ideas, because once stand-up comes back, I don't know if any of them are going to be relevant anymore. And it's like, what is the low-hanging fruit? Like, is it going to be even funny to talk about the toilet paper stuff anymore once, in a year? It's just, it changes so quick. And I don't know. I don't know what's going to come back and what's going to still be relevant. It's going to be interesting to see how crowds are, because from the comedians that I've heard that have already doing shows, the crowds are so great, and it's almost like at a certain point we start taking so much for granted. Like even going to do comedy, there were some nights where I was doing it 5-6 nights a week, and I'd be like blah blah blah, like you would just be like, all right, I'm gonna go do this set. You would kind of not, I would never phone it in, but it was like it was another night of work. I'd go, I'd do my set, I record it, I'd be driving home, I'd be listening to the set, rinse, repeat, cycle. And you almost just start getting into a lull of it. And I always appreciate laughs. And I think there was a point where if you don't get a certain laugh on a certain part, you're like, this crowd, or not, not saying the crowd, but it's like, that one didn't work, blah, blah, blah. And then you start taking laughs for granted because you're used to them at certain parts of the joke. But it's like the appreciation of me being a comedian and the crowd being there. And it was just something like, I can't wait to get back to it, to actually be able to do live stuff again. It's going to be amazing. And I hear crowds are appreciating it so much because they haven't had the opportunity to see live entertainment in so long. And there's something so different about live entertainment and, movies and stuff like that and videos. It's because there's a few things that bring you completely to the moment. That's fighting, sports, I think performing music live for the musician, but watching someone do stand-up, to actually be on for the ride, you almost, you get hypnotized at a certain point where you're completely on board. It's like you hit a flow state, and you need the crowd to be in the flow state as well. It's a beautiful fucking thing. It's like when you're slicing through wrapping paper with the scissors and that shit starts gliding. Whew, makes my willy tingle. You just... It's when you get a rhythm going. You break the ice in the beginning. You have a good open, and then you have a good one joke, and then by that next joke, you've got them primed and ready, and you just have them all in on for the ride. It's a great thing because you start getting into a rhythm of jokes, and boom, you get the laugh. Rhythm of joke, boom, get the laugh, and then they're on board. They're ready to go with you, and it gets them completely to the moment where they're not looking at their phone. They're not thinking about anything else other than what you're saying. And you're not thinking about anything else than performing the joke the best. Because a lot of times what you can do with stand-up is you can start thinking about the next joke. You can start thinking how you just fumbled through the previous sentence. You can start thinking about, fuck, they didn't laugh at that. Oh, did I mess it up? Oh shit, what's the next line? Oh, what's that next joke? You're not worried about any of that. You're just fucking feeling it. And you get into it, and it's just gravy. You're just pouring it on and everything. And it's just, you guys both hit a flow state. It's a beautiful dance. That's why when people heckle, it ruins it. Because it's like, oh, you just brought everything we were building up in this room to a fucking crashing halt, or when people start texting or talking amongst themselves. I think that's why, people get so angry, comedians, when people are on stage and people just start texting or having a conversation. I would love saying, I forgot what show I got this from. I would have people texting, and I'd be like, is that Jesus texting you? If it ain't, you better hang that up. But I got that from a movie, and it would always get a giggle. Yeah, I'm excited though. I'm excited for stand-up to come back. When it comes back, I don't know. But how you guys living? You guys doing good out there, rocking it in the free world? I hope everybody's good. I hope people are still finding ways to go after their passions. I hate saying the word passions, but it is what it is. I love saying fitness is my passion, I love saying it. But yeah, I hope everybody is still finding a way to move forward and to keep, figuring things out. You gotta. It's easy to go back into Netflix. It's easy to watch one more episode. It's easy to just slip away for another day. You gotta do it. I replaced my whole work closet. I took out all the shelves. I had a couple cabinets in there because it wasn't organized well, and I put shelves across the whole thing, a couple rows, to have everything really organized and accessible. Had everything out in my studio yesterday. At one point, I stopped and looked, and I'm like, when the fuck did I get all of this video production equipment? Just over the years, little knickknacks. But at like 9 o'clock last night, I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. I got to work on that for like an hour. And I ended up working on it, and I felt good. Felt good to accomplish it. So I'm not going to lie to you. I was playing Call of Duty, PR Pigeon. Boom, hit me up. That was a terrible coup. But yeah, I think you got to do little things every day. Little things every day. Bars. Evan Wisdom, bars. Yeah. I do want to have more guests on. I keep saying that over and over and over again. The video ones, they aren't as fun and they aren't as effective. And I'll do them because that's what we're limited to. But I was really looking forward to having people in studio. That was something that completely got halted by the pandemic. Because I ain't having none of you little dirty, snotty-nosed fucks up in here. Shit. But yeah, we're just going to keep it moving, baby. Keep it moving. Things could be worse. I was thinking about that. My worst jobs. I was thinking about my worst jobs, and I was thinking about my best jobs that I've ever had. And it's crazy that some of these jobs just don't exist anymore because of the pandemic. I think the worst job that I had was when I lived in Texas, and I worked as a delivery truck driver. So fucking weird. The weirdest times of my life. Just trying to make money. I worked under the table. Shout out to the IRS. And I think I made something like $10 an hour. And it was ridiculous. There was one point where I worked from 10. No, I got there at 9, helped pack up all the food, and I worked till about 10:30 at night. It was the most insane thing because all they would give me is I lived in Arlington, Texas, right outside of Dallas, and they would just give me an entire truck full of food to deliver for people who ordered like meals for the week. Like it was almost like HelloFresh, but it was just this bullshit restaurant that was doing it. The dude was claiming they were healthy meals. They were terrible. I was like looking at the meals and I was like, this is fucking disgusting. Like fucking macaroni and cheese shit. I'm like, oh yeah, these are healthy. These are healthy. On what fucking planet? But they would do that, and then they would give me like 15 to 20 addresses spread out, all of them. Like one would be 30 miles in this direction, and then 30 miles in the other direction on the other side of Dallas. And then I'd have to drive all the way back to the other side of Dallas because people had requested windows of delivery time. So it was the most inefficient way of doing things, which just made my willy tingle in the bad way, not in a good way. He was fired up. And that was probably the worst job. And I remember the days that I worked like from 9 a.m. to like 10:30 at night. He was trying to only pay me something like for the 6 to 8 hours it was supposed to be, when I went way over. And I had all the cash. And I remember I told him at one point, I go, dude, listen, I was so fed up. I was like, I'm going to take $200 out of this cash, and that's going to be it. And I'll just never work for you again. Because what you're doing isn't right here. Like, he was trying to hustle me. And it was just the most ridiculous thing. Yeah, I remember driving through Texas, just sweating my ass off. And I remember at one point I had a realization, because I had went to nursing school, and it was just, I just chose to do a different kind of life. I was like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not meant for that. So I had to do jobs that weren't fun, just to make money. And I remember driving, and there's a certain point in your life where you think about your parents, and you don't always understand the choices that they've made with you. And you almost, I feel like that's just part of growing up, is at certain points you just are just like, oh, I wish my parents would have done this, or parents would have done that, and why'd they push me to do that? But like my dad and my mom, they always wanted me to go to college. They always wanted me to do certain things. And then once I graduated college, I almost was resentful, because I was like, I always wanted to do something else. I always wanted to do something creative and entertainment. And I remember they always wanted to push me towards college. And then at that moment when I was driving a delivery food truck, I remember I was sweating my ass up. I had swamp ass, just fucking dripping. And the sun was like coming through like the window. And I remember just driving, and I think, oh, this is why my parents always wanted me to go to college. This is why they wanted me just to get a good job, so I didn't have to suffer and do things like this. It was like the weirdest realization at that moment. And I think I actually called my parents that night, or that, the next day. It was just nicer to them, because I was like, hey, I know, that's one of the things that you realize as you get older, is that you're like, either you realize things were not as bad as you thought, or you just have an appreciation for what your parents did for you. And also, at the end of the day, your parents are just people who grew up with their own set of problems and demons, and, whether they got a good hand or a bad hand, they just tried to do the best that they could, And that's the way I've looked on my life. Getting back to real serious shit. I would say the best job I ever had for like happiness, I worked a Christmas tree lot. That was the best job for sure. In college, I worked a year. I think I worked 2 years there actually in Christmas. At a Christmas tree lot. Made great money. People tip phenomenally when you help them with Christmas trees. I would just walk through the rows. And the thing is, there's never one person. I didn't meet one person out of the hundreds of people I helped get a Christmas tree put on their car. Not one person was ever angry. No one ever went to buy a Christmas tree and was like, all right, just, what kind of deal can you give me on this thing? All right, yeah, I don't know. I just need to get something, just put it on the car. Everybody acted like that shit was the North Pole. And they were just so happy. And I loved hooking people up. That was the way I got good tips. That's the way I got good tips working in restaurants, was I made people feel like it was they were getting a special deal. But I would take people, I'd be like, listen, we just got some Douglas firs delivery over here. These ones are fresh to death, okay? We go over on the next row. I'll show you a couple that we haven't really been showing to people. We'll get that up on your car, and we'll get you out of here. And you guys won't even have to water this thing for a fucking week. Yeah. I'd bring them from the side, because we would have like the freshest ones on the side. And I'd be like, listen, this thing still has fucking squirrel shit on it. That's how fresh this shit was. This shit was drinking chloroform this morning, or whatever that plant shit is. I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that was an amazing job. And it's good money. Listen, if you're in your 20s, hell, if you're even in your 30s, if you're just trying to make extra money for the holidays, go to a Christmas tree lot, because you can make upwards of like $150 to $200 a night for like a 6-hour shift. At least that's the way it was in Ventura when I worked at a Christmas tree lot. But I highly recommend that. It was a great gig. It was for the holidays. I'd come through like Santa Claus at Christmas time, because I was just loaded with cheese. You know what I'm saying? I should have been saving that money, but fuck it. I spend that money. Yeah. Those were good times working at Christmas Tree Lot. This has been a podcast of just all off the top of my head because we didn't have any trending topics. Nothing really happened that was good or different over the weekend. But yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Only thing on the news is about Biden falling apart mentally. It is a scary thing. I don't want to get into politics. But man, it is sad to see Joe Biden deteriorate like that. In my prediction, I think Trump's going to win again, being honest with you. I know that upsets some people. I am detached from it emotionally. And Joe Biden is just falling apart. It is crazy to watch. But yeah, other than that, things are going good, huh, ladies and gentlemen? Things are going good. Yeah. I think that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We got nothing else. The brain is fried. I think we're going to try to have a guest Wednesday. I'm just throwing that out there. We'll see what happens, huh? But remember, no matter what, I don't love you anymore. But guess what? I still love you. And that's a little bit of that Puerto Rican brainwash mindfuckery.